إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستهديه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما أما بعد. All praise due to Allah and His praise and blessings and peace be upon our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his family, his companions and his followers until the day of judgment, and all the prophets and messengers and their followers. My dear brothers and sisters, last week I started talking about some of the etiquettes of coming to the Salah and performing the Salah, and some of the common mistake that I notice in our congregation and when people come to the masjid and pray. And I would like to wrap it up this week by going over a few other points as well. We know that Salah is ordained as a form of connection between us and Allah. That's why as-Salah, it means a dua, prayer, which it means you pray, you supplicate to Allah. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, "Ud'u rabbakum tadarru'a wa khufya." Pray to your Lord with humility and while you're lowering your voice. Ibn Abbas قال الخفية هي أن تسمع نفسك, that you hear yourself when you talk, not the person next to you hears you. So that's why among the etiquette in the Salah, that the person will not raise his voice out loud. Like some people when they say Ameen, for example, they scream. Or they say in Dua al-Witr, when the Imam said, Ameen, or for example, when they make the takbir behind the Imam, Allah, he raise his voice. You should not raise your voice while you are behind the Imam. The Imam is the only one allowed to raise his voice so people can hear him. Even when we say Ameen, we say it out loud because the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, whoever his Ameen will match the Ameen of the Imam, Allah forgive that person's sins. And the Sahaba radiallahu anhum used to raise their voice with Ameen, but in a soft voice, not in a very loud voice. Also in the takbirat, from one basically position to another, it should not be very out loud. Another sunnah in the Salah, or closer to this point, is a lot of people invent their own or some of the common prayers and supplications, which is not from the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I highly recommend each and every one of you, because in khutbah we can go over that you learn what the kind of supplications that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to do or to say in the Salah. There are plenty of good apps you can download, books you can read, about what the adhkar of the Salah are. But some of the things that people made up and has no basis in Sunnah, for example, when the Imam said, "Ihdina as-sirata iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in," you see some people say, "Ista'anna billah," or people, for example, when they go to sujood, they say, "Subhana man la yashu." All these are no basis in the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Or when they raise up from the ruku', they will add laka shukr. سمع الله لمن حمده ربنا ولك الحمد. That's the sunnah. So people add ولك الشكر. The word ash-shukr never came in the sunnah to Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Some people, when the iqamah is said, قَدْ قَامَتُ الصَّلَاةِ, they would say أَقَامَهَا اللَّهُ وَأَدَامَهَا. All these are things not from the sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And one of the things that I haven't seen is in our masjid, alhamdulillah, but it's common in other communities I experienced and heard it before, if the person comes late and he found the Imam making ruku', he would say, Inna Allah ma'as sabirin. Yani Allah with those who are patient. So stay in your position until I catch up with you. Also, among the things that you should be careful about is the issue of following the Imam. And this is very interesting, that Al-Imam, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, إِنَّمَا جُعِلَ الْإِمَامِ لِيُؤْتَمَّ بِهِ فَإِذَا كَبَّرَ فَكَبِّرُوا يسمونها فاء التعقيب. يعني when he makes takbir, you make takbir. When he makes ruku', you make ruku'. But you can't go in the same time. A lot of people, you say Allahu Akbar, going to sujood, already people in their positions prostrating themselves, or they are and touch the ground before the Imam. Or Sami' Allahu liman hamida is already up. So make sure that you follow the Imam. That's why Jabir radiallahu anhu said, كنا لا نهوي إلى السجود حتى يستقر النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم ساجدا. We will not go to sujood until we see the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم already on the ground making sujood. The only thing that you should say with the Imam is Ameen. And a lot of time people, they don't do that with the Imam, they do it before the Imam. If you notice, most of the people say, وَلَا الضَّالِّينَ. You didn't finish in noon, you didn't reach وَلَا الضَّالِّينَ. People start, Ameen. You should wait until the Imam said, وَلَا الضَّالِّينَ. Then when the Imam say Ameen, you say with the Imam. That's the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Also, among the things that we should take care of, and it's very interesting how many narrations came in the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ and the tradition of Muhammad ﷺ in regard to the following point, which is complete the lines in the Salah. It's amazing how many narrations focus on the importance of completing the lines. The Prophet ﷺ said, أقيموا الصفوف حاذوا بين المناكب سدوا الخلل لينوا بأيدي إخوانكم. يعني لما واحد يسحب تكون لين مو تبتعد عنه. ولا تذروا فرجات للشيطان من وصل صفا وصله الله ومن قطع صفا قطعه الله. رواه أبو داود في سننه. That the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, أقيموا الصفوف, straighten your lines. حاذوا بين المناكب, shoulder to shoulder. سدوا الخلل, don't leave gaps. لينوا بأيدي إخوانكم, be soft with your brother. So if your brother tried to pull you closer to him, or she tried to pull you, said, don't push, hey, don't touch me. You know, that's not the attitude. Then the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, do not leave gaps for the shaitan. And whoever complete a line, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will basically support and aid him. And whoever cut a line, basically cause the line to be disturbed or pull someone from the line, that the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said that Allah will cut him off. Another hadith, the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, إِنَّ اللَّهَ وَمَلَائِكَتَهُ يُصَلُّونَ عَلَى الَّذِينَ يَصِلُونَ الصُّفُوفِ. In the hadith, the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, as al-Mundhiri said, it's authentic, and the Shaykh al-Albani as well, Allah and His angels pray and praise those who complete the lines. When they see a gap or the line's not complete, they fill it up. They fill this gap and they complete the lines. And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam also said, من سد فرجة رفعه الله بها درجة وبنى الله له بيتا في الجنة. Anybody see a gap in the line and he or she fill it up, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala raised them one level in Jannah and gave them a house in paradise. وفي صحيح مسلم ألا تصفون من حديث سمرة بن جندب ألا تصفون كما تصف الملائكة عند ربها. Why don't you line up in the same way the angel line in before their Lord? يتمون الصف الأول ويتراصون في الصف. They line up, they complete the line, and they come closer to one another. They don't leave gaps. And with these ahadith, there's a few points I want to point it out. Number one, there is so much emphasis, there is much talk about completing the lines because that's a way of life. It is so dangerous when the society have so many gaps and holes in it. We need to have this attitude. When I see something missing, I complete it. When I see something need to be taken care of, I will make sure that I will come forward and do it. Rahim Allah al-Dhahabi, when he wrote the biography of Al-Imam Al-Imam ibn Zubayr, Abdullah ibn Zubayr, he said that Mujahid said, وَكَانَ لَا يَرَى بَابًا مِنْ أَبْوَابِ الْعِبَادَةِ هَجَرَهُ النَّاسِ إِلَّا تَكَلَّفَهُ. Anytime Abdullah ibn Zubair see people abandon something and nobody take care of it anymore, he will make sure that he will be the one who fill that gap. He's the one who stand up to take this initiative, to fulfill that, to do that thing that need to be done. He said, and one day, the haram was filled with water, flooded. And nobody going for tawaf because flooded. فطاف عبد الله بن الزبير بالبيت سباحة كلما حاذ الحجر الأسود غطس فقبله. He said, and one day he found there is nobody making tawaf because it was flooded, so he went and he made tawaf swimming. Every time he comes around by the black stone, he will go dive down and kiss the black stone, come up and continue his tawaf. And there is jama'ah min al-ulama صنعوا هذا. There's a group of scholars actually did that other than Ibn Zubayr. But Ibn Zubayr is one of the earliest one been reported that he did such thing. My point is that this is a lot of emphasis because as a community, as a society, we need to learn that attitude, that we always try to complete one another. And we see something missing, we fill that gap. And we come forward to do. Not to replicate the work, not to start a new line, and the line before us is not even complete yet. Halfway, then you start another one. That's one of the biggest problems that we're facing as a community. Everybody starts his own organization, start his own work, and duplicate the work instead of completing each other's work and complementing one another. So this is not only about just literally a gap in the line that you fill it up in the Salah and you forget about it when you walk out of the masjid. It should be an attitude, a way of life, that you live that way in your life. Also, it shows you how close we should be to one another. It is sad when I hear that in some of the masajid and some of my sister's side, where sisters will be standing and there is a gap, there is another sister be 3 feet later on, one, then 2 feet, then another sister, and that's how they line up. It is sad when you see people, they don't want to come closer to each other. That's not how the brotherhood is built. Al-Islam cares so much about coming closer, shoulder to shoulder, to line up, and to basically that will create a sense of closeness to each other. And that's also a meaning should be carried in our life, that we should come closer to each other in the society, in the community, and we care about one another. Also, it shows that we are all in the same boat, we are all in the same line. If this line is crooked, the whole line is basically take the responsibility of it. That's a building a sense of community and society. That's a practice that we do every day, 5 times a day, supposedly. Or at least once every week when we come to Jumu'ah. But when you see, that's why when you see the masjid, somebody go all the way back in the line and somebody where, stay in the, I remember in the other, when we used to pray behind, people will not care to fill up the lines. Oh my God, I'm going to still walk all the way from the middle to the sides. Yeah, it's such a long distance. So you know what, start my own line. That's a behavior problem that needs to be changed. Also, one of the things that you see here is the issue of making sure that our lines are complete and straight. And it's interesting. Anytime you want to line up people in one line straight, you start from the central. Then the central go left and right. If you start looking at the people who are very far away in the left or right, you're going to mess up the line. All what you're responsible for is the person is the right-hand side and left-hand side, to make sure that they are lined up with you. Then they do the same to the people next to them. Then they do the same and that's how the line will be perfectly lined up. But if you start looking to the person very far away, you're going to mess up the whole line. If you don't take care of your family, if you don't take care of your people next to you, if you don't take care of your neighbors, if we don't care about our city, I don't know how we're going to care about our country. If we don't care about our country and our state, how are we going to look for the world, the rest of the world? And that's how it works. From al-aqrab fal-aqrab, the closest people to you. Also, among the things that is good to know, when you want to start a line, what you do, you start from the middle. Some people start from the farthest point in the right side of the Imam. That's not right. You start from the middle, and from the middle you go one right and one left, because you want to make the Imam in the middle of the line. Wassitul Imam. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam told us to make the Imam in the middle. Also, among the things that you should watch out when you come to the Salah, that you don't wear basically clothes that it will show your awrah. For example, people come to wear shorts, make sure that your knees all the way to your navel for men are covered, and your shoulder covered as well. Because the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam ordered us when we pray to do that. Also make sure that when you wear clothes that you avoid the clothes that have images and pictures. The Muslim jurists by consensus said that images in the Salah is highly disliked to be put on the clothes or when you come to the masajid. So you should care also for that. And not a very tight clothes that give a detailed descriptions of the body. But even the Salah, it is correct for men and women, even if the clothes are tight, but it's just disliked according to majority of the fuqaha. One of the things also, it is sunnah when you come to the masjid, there is about 40 narrations talking about this concept, which is the concept of taking a sutra. There is about 46 narrations faqat in Sahih al-Bukhari. In Sahih al-Bukhari about the concept of sutra. That when you pray to an object up in front of you, not just an open line like that. 46 narrations. You think it's for nothing? No doubt the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam talked about this many times for a reason. And that object in front of you can be the pillars, can be another person. An object that the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said is thuluthai dhira', the 2/3 the length of your arm. And the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said that's one of the things will prevent the shaitan from distracting you in your salah. Among the things also that I found some people do during the salah, that they raise their gaze up to the heaven when they pray. And it is absolutely forbidden in the salah. By the Imām al-Arba'ah and the Fuqaha al-Islam all agree inside the salah is not allowed for a person to raise his eyes and gaze up. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam forbade that. قال لينتهين أقوام عن رفع أبصارهم في الصلاة أو لتخطفن الملائكة أبصارهم. That the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said if they don't stop doing this, the angel will snatch their sight away. So they refrain from raising your gaze in the salah up. Where you look in the salah. In the salah, you should look into the place where you make your sujood. Except in one position. When you're in a tashahhud, sitting for the tashahhud, you look at your hand on the right thigh. Other than that, in the salah, you should look at the place of your sujood. قال ابن القيم رحمه الله وإنه من البدع والإحداث في الدين تغميض العينين في الصلاة لغير حاجة. Among the innovations in religion, that you close your eyes in the salah. Some people said, for no reason. You close your eyes if there is distractions. Something distracting you, you close your eyes. Otherwise, closing the eyes is not the hadi Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Never done it, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, nor any one of his companions reported that he did that. And some people just do this thinking, oh, this is like khushu'. It's just more focus. Actually, no. The sunnah is to open your eyes and to look at the place of your sujood unless there is something in front of you distracting you. Also, it's been reported في موطأ مالك وهذا من العجيب أن مالك هو من روى هذا أننا كنا نؤمر بوضع أيماننا على شمائلنا. We've been ordered by the Prophet ﷺ that we put our right hand on our left hand, which shows you that the sunnah is to put your hand on right hand on your left hand, not to basically put them on the side. Also, it is important for you to know that you only sit in the obligatory prayer if you are not capable of standing. But just for convenience is not allowed. Only if are not capable of, physically you can't, or if you stand up, it will add more harm to you. Or it will delay your healing, for example. This will be an excuse for a person to sit while they are praying in the obligatory prayer. Any volunteer prayers, you can pray sitting even if you are healthy. But the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam told us, إِنَّ الْجَالِسْ لَهُ نِصْفُ أَجْرُ الْقَائِمِ. If a person capable of standing and choose to pray sitting in a volunteer prayer, basically he will have half of the reward. One of the things that I also would like to mention, it's important to pay attention to it, and especially watch it in your kids, that when people make sujood, there are 7 things has to touch the ground. Your 2 hands, your forehead, your nose, and your 2 feet, your toes. You basically, your feet touching the ground. So the hand, the feet, and the face, the nose, and the forehead. Some people, what they do, they raise their feet up and they start they don't make their feet or their nose not touching the ground. All this is not correct. And your sujood, I'm worried that your sujood will not be complete this way. So make sure that these 7, 2 and 2, they're basically, and your knees as well. This is, so that's 6. Then your face, the forehead, and the nose, 1, that will be 7 parts of your body touching the ground. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala أن يفقهنا وإياكم في الدين. أقول ما سمعتم وأستغفر الله لي ولكم فاستغفروه. الحمد لله وحده والصلاة والسلام على من لا نبي بعده وبعد. When a person say Assalamu alaikum in the Salah, some people, they do their hands very weird. I don't know where people came up with this. They do like this. So they flip their right hand to the right side and they flip their left hand. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. As a matter of fact, there is a hadith where the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, don't do that when you pray. Don't be like the ears of the horse that keep flipping, kal khayl al-shumus. So this is also something that is not correct to be done in the Salah. And the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, don't be like dogs as well when you pray, which is you put your whole entire arm on the sujood. When you go to sujood, you have your whole entire hand on the ground. He said, don't be like the dogs. And he said, don't be like the chicken. Your sujood will be very fast. You just touch like how the chicken pick up the seeds from the ground. Don't be like that, just touching the floor and picking your head quickly. And he said, don't be like the fox, which is keep looking, like fox, they always look around. When you pray, you should focus. Also, one of the things that I would like to make you to pay attention to, if you ever carry a baby in the Salah, which is allowed to carry a toddler while you're praying, but make sure that this toddler doesn't have najasa. Basically, their diaper is clean. Because if you know that their diaper is not clean, you're not allowed to carry them in the Salah by the agreement of all the fuqaha al-madahib rahimahumullah ta'ala. We talked about filling a gap. I just want to make sure that you see a gap is not you make one. And I mean by that, you see a very tiny small gap. And a guy like me comes and put my shoulder and I make a gap, and pushing people and bothering people in the Salah while standing. That's not correct. Make sure that there is, because also you don't want to bother the people next to you. Among the things that also people, in comes to the issue of bothering others, make sure that you turn your phone in silent and pager. And by the way, if your phone, I forget my phone a couple of times to turn it off, and it goes off in the Salah. What you do, you just pull it up and you turn it off, or you stop it. But you know what, no need for you to worry about it. It is allowed and it doesn't break your Salah, it doesn't invalidate your Salah. Just reach out to it and basically close it. Or turn it off or put it on silent. One of the things also that we make sure that we don't bother people by raising our voices. That's why Ibn Hajar rahimahullah talked about bid'ah. We don't have it in our masjid, alhamdulillah, that he said in one of his masajid in his time, people read Quran out loud and everybody in the masjid forced to hear that person. Why people want to pray? He said that's not correct. That's why Imam Malik was asked if somebody do that, raise his voice in the masjid, قال يخرج من المسجد. This person should be taken out of the masjid. Also, we're not allowed to cause any disturbing in the masjid. Anything that causes damage in the masjid. That's why Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said it's a sin to throw trash in the masjid. And it is a reward to pick a trash from the masjid. Or something maybe harm people. And Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said if you walk to the masjid, and in the old days, they have their arrows. He said make sure that you hold the tip of the arrow with your hand. So you will not scratch someone while you're walking. The issue of the safety of people. And that's something important. Among the things that can harm the Musallin, harm your fellow Muslim in the masjid, not inside the masjid, but outside. You park your car in the wrong spot. Or you park your car in a way that take 2 spots. That's not correct. If you don't know how to park your car, Hamza is very more than willing to help you park your car in the office. Volunteering for free. Okay, so because sometimes it's really, especially in Jumu'ah and Eid and Ramadan, that's something you should be careful. Also, among the things that can harm the Musallin and disturb them, your children. If you bring your children, you don't supervise them, you don't educate them, you don't talk to them. I am 100%, I want everyone in this masjid to be very welcoming and accommodating to kids. Don't get angry, don't shout at them, teach them. But the parents have to do also a role in educating them, talking to them. If they cannot respect and understand the masjid, just don't bring them, as simple as that. And by the way, there is no such hadith, don't bring children to masjid, jannibu masajikum as-subyan was-sufa. All these are fabricated hadith. It's not correct. We want our kids to come to the masjid. We want them to, that's why we have a playground. They can play. They can have. You can organize among yourself, people volunteer to babysit or to supervise the kids while they're playing, while we are praying. So all this is to accommodate having the people to come more to the masjid. A lot of people think it is not allowed inside the masjid to talk about worldly matters. And that's not true. They basically narrate a hadith that it says, talking about dunya in the masjid will eat your reward like the way the fire eat the dry wood. But that's very weak hadith, no base for it. That's not true. Actually, in the al-Bukhari and others, many narrations wherein Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and the companion talked about worldly thing in the masjid, but it should not be the focus. It should not be the main theme of the masjid. We should not turn the prayer area to be a social center. You want to do about social issues and stuff like that, we talk about it in the community hall. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to always give us a good understanding of the religion and to all help us to perfect our salah because it is amudud deen, the main pillars in Islam. اللهم إنا نسألك الهدى والتقى والعفاف والغنى اللهم آت نفوسنا تقواها وزكها أنت خير من زكاها أنت وليها ومولاها لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إنا كنا من الظالمين اللهم اغفر لنا وارحمنا وعافنا واعف عنا وأكرم نزلنا يا أرحم الراحمين. Before I go to the salah, I just have a quick things to say. This is a holiday season. And basically, I don't believe that it goes against the belief of the Muslim or the etiquette of Islam in any form of any shape is to be nice and courteous to your neighbors and to wish them a happy holidays and to wish them a good time and to be happy as well yourself and taking advantage of this holiday. Make sure that you spend, yes, we don't celebrate Christmas as Muslims, but I'm happy that there are so many of friends and neighbors who are celebrating their Christmas and they're celebrating their holidays. And I wish to see everybody having a good time, everybody enjoying their religion, enjoying their freedom, and enjoying their families. And this is the spirit of Islam, and this is the spirit of the Muslims. That's number one. Also, a lot of people ask me in regard to businesses and stuff like that, if they own business or they have gifts that is given to the people who work for them during this holiday. And it's part of the culture and the custom, and I don't see a harm with doing this if you own the business, if this is your own businesses. And that's how the culture and the norm of people here. You have to understand there is a big difference between there are certain rules designed for us as Muslims, but it doesn't apply to the non-Muslim. Also, in the land and the custom and the culture of the land we're here that dominated by non-Muslims. In some Muslim country, they don't know Christmas. They don't have that as a holiday. It's not something that they used to have any gifts or the end of the year or basically a bonus on it or anything like that of that nature. But that's how the custom and the norm here. Nobody, as far as I know, among the Muslims that I know, Everyone he do stuff like that because he believed Jesus is Son of God, and we don't believe that as Muslims, but we understand that there is many other around us believe that, and lakum dinukum waliya din. You have your religion, I have my religion, I have my understanding, and you have my understanding, and nothing between us except love and support and respect for one another. So that's basically how Islam defined the relationship with people in the community and in the society, that neighbors, friends, family members, and so forth. So make sure that you give your children a good time as much as you can during this holiday. Your kids seeing everybody happy, so make sure that they are happy as well and they're having a good time, and spend a good quality time with them. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept from all of us. Thank you very much. And qumu lis-salati yarhamkumullah wa sallallahu alaihi wa sallam.